Hey everyone, Gavin Lance Top here. I'm here with the dearest friend in the world, Peter Allbott. We're at his eco village here in Currumbin Valley. Created an amazing business. But the reason I've asked Pete to come here today, and welcome mate, I'm at your place, but welcome to our podcast, to our YouTube channel. We're inspiring men all around the world. And you know, mate, we're here and I've asked you to generally go and give up your time and speak about this masculine reset. You know, we've been mates, we've been trained together since around 2004, I think. So a little while. Yeah. And particularly when we started the boxing program, Fight Like a Pro, you actually did the first fight of the first Fight Like a Pro. So there's the start, and then you're right at the start of the start. so mate, there's going to be a lot of men that are going to launch in and do this, the online component, the not the boxing, but the things, what had to be created in them to fulfill on their dream. And mate, that's why I asked you today, because you've done it, you've seen it, you've helped men go through it. Mate, you know, like, tell us, I suppose, a little bit about you and what you kind of went through initially.
Yeah, sure. With that first fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was interesting because you come to a program like this and you think, at that time, you think it's about boxing and fitness and what have you, and it becomes, you realise that that's just a surface layer, and what's really going on is the challenge that you're coming to. And like most things in life, you come to a challenge, like there's just twists and turns in the road, and you know, life, there's two kinds of living, right? There's comfort and discomfort, and sometimes we run from discomfort, but really, you only learn from discomfort. Yeah. It's only being uncomfortable that makes you respond and grow as a man. Yeah. And so the program, the 10-week program, is uncomfortable, yeah, I would say. Yeah. And I found it uncomfortable. It's like anything, right? You come to a program and you think, I got this, I'll do this, and we know what we're like as men, we know what we're like as people. We go, yeah, I'll sign up for that because I think I'll be good at that. So you do. Yeah. And then sometimes it gets turned on you, because turns out it's not what you thought. It's going so much deeper than what you thought it was going to, and it twists and turns, and the program twists and turns. And what I loved about it was that week in, week out, you would present to us a question that was seemingly so simple, but I'd be stumped. I'd be stumped. One of the questions I love this one was, am I allowed to say what
Mate, you can do whatever you want, this is your interview.
It's a spoiler alert, right? But it's just a question. The question is, what's the state of your kingdom? And I thought, do I have a kingdom? I have a kingdom. This presupposes I have a kingdom. Yeah. And then, if I have a kingdom, what is it? Who's in it? Who's the king? I assume I'm the king. Yeah. But that's an assumption. And if I'm the king, what kind of a king am I? And what do my people think of me as a king? And what's the state of my kingdom? And it was such a simple question, but there was so much to consider around that. And I took that to mean my family and my friends and my inner circle and my kids, and did they feel safe, and you know, did they feel led, did they want me as their leader? Yeah. So unpacking that would take the full week. After, you know, say the question was posed on a Saturday, you'd unpack it over the next week and still be unpacking it even after that, and it was such a simple question. But then you'd have to come to a conclusion on that, because then you'd ask me the next question. Yeah. You'd ask us the next question, and it was like, oh, this is not simple. I thought this was going to be simple. I thought I'd approach this and do really well, and I am doing well. When I thought that I'm I'm doing this, I'm committing to this, and I'm committing to these questions. You know, Gavin and I were just talking before about, we were just talking about one of the guys who came to the program. He was coming to the gym, and he told us later, I think this was after the program, and he said, oh, he drove and literally turned around and started driving away and said, I can't, maybe this is not for me. Yeah. And, but he turned around again and came back, and he did it. And the thing is, that's the discomfort. And you can come to something which seems so simple and you think you're going to be good at, but it is challenging. But here's the test. Here's the test as a man. It's whether you throw yourself in and keep going and just keep walking towards your better future. Because that test is, it's somewhat around who you are as a man, but it's testing who you want to become.
That's right.
And that man did turn around, came back, completed the program, and he grew and he stayed, and he became one of our better men who stayed with us in the program. And that's the thing, mate. The 10-week program. Yeah. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of really simple but really hard questions which take hours and weeks and of unpacking and thinking about it and talking with your partner and friends and your family. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? But ultimately, it's what do I think about this?
And I suppose, mate, what we're getting to here is like this masculine reset. Mm-hmm. You know, because there's a lot of great men that we've seen while we were, you know, one of the things was that every time we do 10 weeks, the next one we make a little better. Yeah. We'd introduce a newer story, a more relevant story, because you always learn from others, and then, like you say, maybe a better question. So, I mean, but particularly like, because I mean, once you went through, then of course, you become a part of the team, you know, for the next one, and the one after that, and the one after that, and, you know, what, 15, 20 years later, we're still making it better. But that particular 10 weeks, that masculine reset, you know, particularly when we had men that would come for like what you referred to, all different reasons, but we talk about your dream, your purpose. We talk about developing yourself in that first couple of weeks. Yeah, before maybe it got a little bit hard while we're still on that honeymoon period, because men are going to experience that doing the 10 weeks online. The honeymoon period, this is amazing. So, you know, like, what did you see maybe through that period?
That's a really good way to put it. There is a honeymoon period where you turn up and I think I'm going to be good at this, and you're full of the reasons you started. And then 3 weeks in, it's like the rug gets pulled out from under you, and I mean this in a good way. Yeah. But you look, if you're signing up for this program, it's because you want change. Yeah. It's because, as one of the things Gav says, which I love, is your best thinking has got you here. But if here isn't what you want, well, maybe you need some help. Yeah. And maybe you need a little bit of poking and prodding from the outside. And of course, we've run a program and we haven't done it, so you don't know what it is. So you look at the shiny brochure and you go, oh, I think that's for me. I can tell you, human nature is we don't like to start things we think will fail. Yeah. So we sort of project onto this. I'll be good at this. I'll do this. 3 weeks in, I promise you, you'll wonder. You might end up wondering why you signed up for this, because it's really challenging. Yeah. But deep down, that's what you wanted. Yeah. I know that's what you wanted. And most men will continue with that because it is what they want. They want change, because their best thinking up to this point was great, but I'm still not happy. All right, well, let's work through this and trust in the process. So it gets hard and challenging, but there's always, I always felt supported, and then it became my job to support men and know it will get hard. They'd go, oh, this is really hard. I'll go, no, isn't it good? Yeah. So where are we going to go from here? We can only go up from here. And then giving men the tools to go up. You know, you can't, it's funny, I was talking to someone about this the other day, but, you know, they were talking about helping people, right? And I said, well, a 2-3-year-old can't learn to walk without falling down. Can't. They'll never learn to walk well unless they fall down, hit the ground, get hurt a little bit, and some over a few iterations of that, they go, I don't like that. So great, you're not going to fall, you're going to improve your balance, you're going to get better. And that's what happens. I think the 10-week program supports you to sort of reevaluate what's going on in your world across the topics of the program, and then you got to get yourself up, but the support's there to help you, give you the tools to get up, and then at the end of it, life seems different. That was the universal thing.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we're talking about that initial honeymoon period, and even on the back of that, because the whole idea with this 10 weeks that you've got to apply it to something.
Yeah.
Something that's going to, like we talked about in the first week, you know, what's your dream, what's your purpose, why are you actually doing it? Because if it's to lose weight, get fit, it's not enough. You don't go the distance. But I mean, when we get into like creating hosts and focus, and then even getting into like your power, like generally when we use the boxing program, we start sparring.
Yeah.
You know, and then what they say, there's 3 sorts of men inside every man. The man I tell you I am, the man I think I am, and the guy who lives on the inside. You know, I mean, we had over 1,000 men go through this, and we'd see that change, wouldn't we? And really, what it comes down to is identity. I mean, can you think of anyone now where you see they maybe looked at themselves different?
Oh, totally. And we've had all sorts, right? So we've had men that came to the program with great power. We're talking about big, strong men who lived a life of power, which typically meant they were intimidating to others and got their way because people were a little bit nervous around them. And ultimately that was unfulfilling for them. So they thought, great, I'm coming to a boxing program, I'm going to show these guys. And they were, after 3 weeks, humbled. Because what worked in the past for these men with great power didn't work in a structured environment with other men who actually knew how to box. They were gassed out in a minute, run out of ideas, didn't know what to do, and panicked. And it was interesting to me that the big, powerful men who came to the program fell down, metaphorically, first, because their expectations were higher. And then when they thought, oh, this is not going like I thought, they crashed harder and lifted up in the most wonderful way, because they came to understand their power, and they came to understand how to control their power. And then on the opposite end of that, there was guys who were just petrified. They're coming to a boxing program, and they'd never thrown a punch in their life at anyone, not even a bat. And these were men who wanted power, and that's what we gave them. But the way it should be done, because all men have enormous power. We do. You do. I'm talking to you. If you're interested in the program, you've got so much power you don't even know. The power of the program is to bring that out and help you understand your power and how you apply that in your life.
And I suppose what I'm hearing, mate, is it's identity. It's getting a better perspective on how you see yourself, getting a better perspective.
Who are you? Who are you? Really, who are you? Because as Gav said, the man you think you are. Well, how about you become the man you're meant to be? And who's going to help you do that? It's you. I'll tell you the answer right now. You have to do it. Or this is the opportunity. You have the opportunity to become the man you're meant to be, but only you can do it. With help, Gav, and the team and the other guys, but ultimately it's going to be up to you. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the confronting thing in the program. Because sometimes, I'd see guys get halfway into the program and be afraid of who they could become. Honestly, they're afraid of actually being themselves and coming into their power. look, probably only a handful, but there were some people just comfortable, sort of just doing what other people thought they should do, and you know, Dad always said, I wouldn't never quite make it, and so on. And some people would just fall out of the program and be comfortable with that because it feels safer because you're doing what you think you should do. That's okay. That's not how I'm going to live my life. It's I'm going to be the man I was meant to be, and it doesn't matter. Like these guys that came with great power, or these men that came with not much power and grew into it. The same program challenges both, and I just saw men arrive at the same outcome. A very complete understanding of who they are, and a great context of who they are as a man in the world.
And it's so good to listen to you, mate, because as we're going, because we've done it so many times, the transition, because that's actually when we get into building a culture. That supports you and your mission, whatever the mission is, or particularly like we're talking on the back of identity, around validation also. Like what was some experience, I mean, particularly you're a massive part of validating me. I mean, how was that, like the culture around that?
Man, this is so powerful. You're dealing with men. Look, we've all been there because we've all been boys, teenagers, and we've all had a father, and we've needed to be told at some point in our life. We have needed to be told by another man that we respected that we're good enough, and probably the majority of times that didn't happen. No one actually said to me, Pete, you're good enough, from a man that I respected, loved, and so on. And I think, and I'm not saying I had a poor upbringing. I had a great upbringing, but there was a lack of understanding in the culture that I grew up in how important that was. So bringing that's a central part of the program. And the number of times I've seen men break down in the program just from that, just being told, you're good enough. And I've been the one to say it to some men. And this is weeks in, that's weeks of bonding over all these questions. In our case, we're running, we're boxing, we're doing all sorts of things. But there comes a point in time where I was the one that was recognised by the man as having the power, where they sought validation from me, and I could say, hand on heart, you're good enough. I think you're good enough. And the power, and men in tears over that. And I'm thinking, who am I? Who am I to say that this man should be in tears just because he heard it from me? But then I think, and that makes me a little emotional, because I go, hasn't anyone ever told you that? You're amazing. I've seen what you can do. I know about you now. I've learned about your family and how you approach things. And you're an amazing man. You are good enough, And this is this two-way street that happens with men in a program like this. It's pretty important.
Oh, well, we've seen the ramifications of not understanding a validation initiation process. Well, men are just dancing to the beat of somebody else's drum. They're just looking for it. Don't even know what they're looking for. They're just dancing.
Dancing to the beat of someone else's drum. And this, I don't know about you, but in my world, that was the shoulds. I should do this, I should do that, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. And I used to listen to that. And now I hear that and I go, yeah, what do I want? What does Pete want? What's Pete going to do? What am I doing about that? And even my vocabulary has changed from here's a good one, Gavin. You know this. Like guys that come to the program and they'd say, let's. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go for a run this Saturday. And I'm listening to this and I'm going, no, you're not. You're just saying that. I know you're not. it's got to be different. I'm running on Saturday morning, and I've got to believe it. And you've got to believe it when you make these statements. And I noticed my vocabulary changed over the years and over the program to these bland aspirational statements to decision making. I go, I'm running. I'm running this Saturday at 5:30 a.m. I never stopped. We did this for 10 years. We ran the stairs at Currumbin 5:30, even after there was some lockdown stuff and all that stuff, and you weren't even allowed to do that. And I went, well, I'm doing it. So I turned up 5:30 every Saturday morning. I kept doing it. My son joined me, and off we went. And I just noticed my world changed, because I don't. If I'm doing it, I'm doing it. I'm telling you, I'm doing it. I will go and do it. And it's not for anyone. It's not because I should do it. No, it's because I'm doing it. This is what I do, and this is who I am as a man. So I don't know if that makes sense. You know what I mean? But this is a terminology thing, and you change the way you think. And when you do that, it's like a drop in a pond. You know that metaphor? You drop in the pond, and the ripples go out from there. Well, you do that, and then you start to associate with other people who do that, and suddenly these ripples are, you know, they bounce out, right? And I always think of a drop in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and then it ripples out, and by the time it hits Hawaii, it's like a 10-foot, you know, massive wave in pipeline, and that just started as a little rip or a gust of wind somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. But this is the power of this intention and commitment.
And even, you know, I've recently, it's amazing how this conversation's going, because we're basically going through the different weeks in fulfilling on your dream, where we get on the back end of really, you know, forgiveness is, you know, in other words, letting stuff go, like you say, those shoulds or I could, or, you know, you at least learn to let some of that stuff go. And then really getting at what is your legacy. I mean, listening to your eldest son, Jack, the other day, do you remember what he said about his bloodlines? You know, because that's legacy, isn't it? You know, he said, do you remember what he said?
Oh, you say.
Well, we're there, and I was talking to Jack, his son, and I said to him, I asked him, why are you here? Why are you doing the hard stuff? And he said his brother said to him, we owe it to our bloodlines. Meaning this guy, you know, to Pete, his parents, etc. So that's when we talk in the program about legacy. You see, I was watching your legacy say things like, I owe it to my bloodlines. And I mean, when we go through the stuff in the program, that's what happens. The benefits of you doing this program, you actually get to see it in real life.
You do.
In others.
You do. We see it in your sons.
And
just to complete that picture, my son's 30 years old. That's really powerful. That's what every father would want. Their sons, daughters to say something like that about their father. And let me tell you this, that's not a goal of mine, that any of my kids should say that about me, which makes it even more fascinating, and I'm curious that he did say that about me. And I think, I must be doing something right. And I think, what am I doing? What am I doing that's right there? And one of the things I do is I don't have a lot of expectations around my kids. I have a lot of expectation around me being who I'm meant to be. And this is the ripple effect. I think they see that, and I think that inspires them. I like to think that inspires them. And it's as simple as that. So, you know, I have so many friends, fathers, have a lot of trouble with the kids. My kids, you know, you don't understand, he's like this, he's like that. But these kinds of stories, it's not about that. This is about you. This is about you being who you're meant to be. So, if not now, when?
No, awesome, mate. Thanks. Hey, this has been great having you here, mate. It's been far too long since we've done this. But, hey, this masculine reset, if you know, straight up, hey, can we give this bloke some encouragement? Goodness me, you know, going the distance, mate. Creating an amazing legacy for your children, for your children's children to come. But hey, click the link, join this restart, this masculine restart, and ALC on the other side. Over and out. Great, great.